60-40 fight, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's going to win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
If he doesn't fight the one way that he can only fight to win it, Terence Crawford has 6 ways he can win it. And my money will go on the man who has 6 ways to win it over the man who has 1 way to win it.
Is that going to be the same version of guy that's going to show up in September? No. I mean, Canelo, he didn't look as fit as he did his last fight. He looked listless. He looked like he didn't care. He didn't have the crowd behind him.
Shawn Porter has voiced firm belief that Terence Crawford would come out on top against Canelo Alvarez. In his view, Crawford's preparation is operating at a higher level, and he'll bring a game plan and execution that Canelo has never had to deal with before. Porter expects Crawford's quickness, accuracy, and discipline to be too much, predicting a showcase that'll go down as one of the most commanding wins the sport has ever seen.
Makes sense, though. If Crawford's going to win this fight, he'll surprise people in the fashion he does it in. Because a lot of people picking Crawford, they think foot speed and turn Canelo all night. And I'm like, nah, he's
born victory?
No, it's just he's definitely a lot better than the guys of the last couple years who have tried to beat Canelo that way, Billy Joe, Caleb. But even though he's better than them, it didn't. That game plan, it just didn't. It didn't work. So it's not gonna look like that if Crawford pulls this off. It's gonna look different than that. To your point,
Roy Jones Jr., a legendary figure in the sport, has been outspoken about his belief that Terence Crawford holds the edge in versatility. According to Jones, Crawford has multiple routes to victory thanks to his adaptability, fight IQ, and ability to adjust mid-bout. In contrast, Jones feels Canelo Alvarez's best chance lies in applying constant pressure and landing heavy power shots. He stressed that unless Canelo delivers a near-perfect performance, Crawford's tactical depth could prove too much. In Jones's eyes, versatility often makes the difference in high-level clashes, especially when the fighters are evenly matched in skill, but worlds apart in strategy.
In fight, he does have a chance, and I think he could be victorious. If he doesn't fight the one way that he can only fight to win it, Terence Crawford has 6 ways he can win it. And my money will go on the man who has 6 ways to win it over the man who has 1 way to win it.
So you think Canelo has to kind of fight the perfect fight, right?
If he don't, he's in trouble. If he does, he should be all good.
Let's talk about the weight a little bit, right? Because we all know everything you accomplished as a heavyweight. What is Terence dealing with right now?
I don't think Terence dealing with much of anything because Terence did like I did as a heavyweight. He bulked up to the weight. He's been dealing with super middles and light heavyweights in training. If you can deal with them in training, you can deal with them in the fight. So the weight should not even be an issue.
Do you think Terence is that one fighter where he could accomplish what a lot of people are thinking is not doable? Is he that one fighter who's just wired and has that different DNA?
He is, and not only to mention is he the guy that can, he's already done it. How many 2 or 3 division undisputed champions have we ever had besides Usyk, the 2 division undisputed champ? This dude is a 3 division undisputed champ already, and if he win this, he'll be a 4 division undisputed champ. We may never see that again. See, people don't like to celebrate the reality when it's happening. They'll wait till the person dead and they talk about it. This man is the only 3 division undisputed champion that boxing has ever had. And we're asking, are we wondering, can he step up to a task? Really? Do you know who we're talking about?
Comedian and fight fan Aries Spears weighed in with a broader historical perspective, drawing on decades of classic boxing rivalries between Mexican greats and African-American standouts. Spears noted that in many of those marquee matchups, the African-American fighters often came out on top. He attributed that trend to a combination of slick defense, sharp counterpunching, and tactical adaptability, traits that have traditionally posed problems for pressure-heavy Mexican styles. While Spears acknowledged Canelo's status as one of the most well-rounded and proven champions of his generation, he framed this bout as a continuation of a long-standing stylistic clash where speed, defense, and ring IQ have frequently held the advantage.
You take a top-notch Hispanic fighter, put him against a top-notch black fighter, the black dude usually edges him out. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Latino fighters, because look at the greats. De La Hoya, motherfucking
Roberto Duran,
Arguello, Felix Trinidad, what's my man's name? Chavez.
Huh?
So there have been legends, but 9 times out of 10, when the top Mexican legend takes on the top black legend, the black dude wins. Boxing and basketball is just something that niggas just, we got that wop wop that just, we edge you out. We edge you out. Duran lost to Hagler. He got knocked out so viciously by Hearns. Rumor is he's still waking up today. He lost he did the no-mas with Leonard.
Yeah, no, I've been hanging out with Sugar Ray Leonard recently. We talked
De
about
La
that whole
Hoya
situation.
lost to Floyd. He lost to Bernard. He lost to Sugar Shane Mosley. Usually the black fighters edge out the Latinos when it come down to it.
So basically, you're saying Crawford's going to win because he's black.
I'm saying he's gonna win because he's got skills. But that black component, that's that extra juice.
That's that extra juice? I mean, look.
It's like the Batmobile when it's going fast, and then he hits the nitro button, and the flame shoots out of the back of the car and takes it to another level. Black dudes have the nitro switch.
Veteran boxing writer Dan Raphael emphasized the psychological side of the matchup, pointing out that Terence Crawford doesn't just recognize the dangers Canelo brings, he embraces them. Raphael explained that Crawford's career has been defined by seeking out challenges, not avoiding them. Rather than feeling weighed down by pressure, Crawford channels the magnitude of big fights into sharper focus and more intense preparation. This level of mental composure, Raphael suggested, could be a key factor on fight night, as Crawford is likely to step into the ring ready for any scenario without being shaken by the moment.
Whatever. I was really excited that Terence Crawford, when we were going through some of the historical things that could take place if he wins this fight, what they would mean. And at the end of that part of the conversation, he says, there's a lot riding on this fight. Like, he knows it. I don't think he feels pressure from it. I think he embraces that. But I like to hear that the fighter understands the magnitude of this fight and embraces that and realizes, like the general public that follows boxing or the media, that this is a bigger deal than your average fight, and that he is keenly aware of that. So I love that. He was very, very well spoken, and we discussed a lot of different topics, and I think people will get a kick out of it. It's on our podcast feed. It'll be up on the YouTube channel, and I hope people check it out.
Sticking with Crawford, because I spoke to a few guys in his team, and there seems to be this mindset where they really, really believe they're going to win this fight, and obviously every fighter that goes into any fight will believe they win this fight. But do you get that impression that they're in no doubt that this goes their way, and it's a case of just turning up for a payday?
Oh, absolutely. Terence Crawford has never been the kind of fighter that's just looking to take a fight to get paid. Yeah, he's going to get paid a whole ton of money, and so is Canelo Alvarez. But, if you follow Terence Crawford, if you watch the way he fights, watch the way he conducts himself, know him at all, even just a little bit, I can't claim to be like best buddies with him, but I got a pretty good feel for Crawford, having been around him so many times for all these fights he's had. There is 0.000% chance that he is coming into this fight with anything other than victory in mind. I mean, he really believes that this is his moment to shine and create a huge addition to what's already a tremendous boxing legacy. Besides just the money, I mean, Terence Crawford can take a fight against anybody, make a good amount of money. And so while that's important, of course,
this matchup is being framed as one of the toughest tests of Terence Crawford's career, perhaps the most dangerous opponent he has ever faced. But for Canelo Alvarez, the stakes may be even greater. A loss to Crawford, a smaller fighter moving up in weight, could leave a mark on his otherwise storied resume. In boxing, legacy often carries more weight than anything else, and history has shown that defeats to smaller challengers can draw intense criticism. For Canelo, many argue this fight is about more than pride or belts. It's about safeguarding his standing among the sport's all-time greats.
Canelo's legacy. And he gave a resounding yeah. A resounding yeah. He said it would massively tarnish Canelo's legacy. And some of the things that he said were just basically things that most of us know, just some register and make sure that other people know and others don't, right? But it would tarnish his legacy, and for the obvious reasons. One is, we know that the guy's older. Crawford's older. He's going to be 38 years old here, right? So he's an older fighter. He's an active fighter, right? And that most of the time, these are things that, you know, make people say that people gonna lose. Man, he's inactive. So he's pretty inactive, hasn't fought in a year, hasn't fought more than once a year in 3 to 4 years.
Showbiz the Adult, a respected voice in boxing analysis, offered a balanced breakdown of the fight by recognizing the strengths of both men. He noted that Canelo's power, toughness, and relentless forward pressure have been key ingredients in his long reign at the top. Few fighters can take damage, bait opponents into mistakes, and answer back with crushing counters the way Canelo does. On the other side, Showbiz emphasized Crawford's unique foundation, including his wrestling background, which sharpened his sense of balance, positioning, and ability to anticipate movement inside the ring. That blend of athletic roots and high-level boxing IQ, he suggested, might be the X factor that separates Crawford on fight night.
Canelo uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is. When you look at his workouts, you can tell why he was able to do that. All these damn neck exercises that I wouldn't dare do. Okay, that stuff looks painful. The squatting and all that stuff that he's doing is exactly why Canelo Alvarez, honestly, is a strong fighter. He tried to do it again with William Skull. William Skull shook out of it, but he is a bull. Listen, Terence Bud Crawford is strong. He is, okay? And he understands leverage and he understands those things because he wrestled. Honestly, very true. But Saul Canelo Alvarez is also extremely strong. Now, let me know how you feel in the comments below.
Former world champion Chris Algieri challenged the idea that Canelo's showing against John Ryder is an accurate reflection of what he'll bring into the ring with Crawford. Algieri pointed out that Canelo has consistently raised his game when the stakes are highest. With his legacy on the line, he expects Canelo to enter this matchup in top form, sharper, stronger, and far more aggressive than he appeared in recent tune-ups. Algieri stressed that fans shouldn't judge Canelo by his lower-profile outings, but instead anticipate the version of him that shows up when everything is on the line.
Opinion changed at all?
Not a whole lot. It hasn't changed all that much. Listen, the Skull fight, could Canelo have done more? Absolutely. But is that going to be the same version of guy that's going to show up in September? No. I mean, Canelo, he didn't look as fit as he did his last fight. He looked listless. He looked like he didn't care. He didn't have the crowd behind him. And Marcus, you've been to a ton of Canelo fights. You know how that arena is. It is insane. Insane. In Vegas, I mean, it's deafening the entire fight. I remember when he fought BJ Saunders in
oh my
Texas.
God.
And
that
he's waving
Saunders
on
one?
80,000 fans.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he is a gladiator. You know, I called Tim a warrior. Canelo's a gladiator. He is there for the adoration of the fans. I just think that he was a little too clinical in there that night. You know, he didn't have that same drive. He had a guy who just was not willing to engage. That's not going to be Crawford, and that's not going to be Canelo. They're going to be their peak of what they are at this point. Because again, Crawford is 38 years old. Canelo will be 35 by then. So I think they're going to be the peak for what they are at their ages. But it's easy to go, wow, what have you done for me lately? That's usually how everyone kind of sees everything. So, but I think it's good. I think it makes the fight more enticing if a lot of people are thinking that Crawford can win. And don't get me wrong, Crawford can absolutely win the fight. I'm not saying he can't win the fight. But in terms of, you know, how I see it, it hasn't really changed my thoughts because I know better than to just trust that last thing I saw because there's a lot of confounding factors.
Shawn Porter, along with several other analysts, broke down the possible strategies each fighter might lean on. For Crawford, they highlighted the importance of distance management, using sharp footwork, angles, and constant movement to prevent Canelo from setting his feet and unloading with power. By shifting range and mixing up his rhythm, Crawford could slow Canelo's forward pressure and gradually take control as the rounds progress. The analysts agreed that this bout isn't just about physical skill, but also about mental discipline. The fighter who stays calm under fire and executes their plan consistently across all 12 rounds will likely have the edge.
Understands that he has to be smart. And I think with this one specifically, it ain't just about being smart. He knows he has to look like he's never looked before Because again, if he doesn't and he beats Canelo, everybody's just gonna say, well, that's Crawford. So I think he knows that this is the performance of a lifetime and everything has to look right. He knows in order for it to look right, he can't just go out there and let the dog go. The dog is, he got to work his way up to the dog. Hey, show the clip real quick. I don't know if you showed it already, but this is the dog you talking about right here, right? And so I pulled this clip right here. I seen it on social media this morning.
Don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
And I pulled this clip, right? But this is Terence.
That's who he is.
He's not gonna swing on Canelo. He already know that part of the game. But what I asked you, were you ever trying to send a message to your opponents? He's letting you know, and it's no act. And that's what I really wanted to show. That's not an act.
No.
That's not. There's 30 security guards.
I don't know, it feels a little contrived.
You think so?
I think a lot of people feel it's a little
Well, I'm glad you used a big word that most of us don't know.
Hey, I don't fight as good as you guys. I had to learn some big words, right, to make up for that.
Don't look it up. Just ignore what you
need big words to get out of fights. You need big words to get out of fights. But okay. So case in point, our guy Hafey sitting right there, producer extraordinaire.
Fans and media alike are rallying behind this matchup, labeling it one of the most intriguing fights of the modern era. The clash of styles only adds to the excitement. Canelo's pressure, strength, and power colliding with Crawford's precision, timing, and adaptability. This isn't simply a fight for championship belts. It's a showdown that could redefine the super middleweight landscape and even shake up the pound-for-pound debate. And unlike bouts driven mostly by marketing, the buzz here is real. Fighters, trainers, and seasoned analysts remain genuinely divided on who has the upper hand.
Oh my God, we just got some absolutely absurd boxing news breaking. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, targeted for December or January in the United States. Oh my God. I'm not even lying when I say this is literally one of the biggest combat sports fights of all time. And as I said earlier, it's targeted in December or January, so the build-up to this fight is going to be incredible. The fact that it's in the United States is insane. Saudi Arabia has low-key saved boxing. This is an absolutely mega fight. I was not expecting this at 1 in the afternoon, but here we are. Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, targeted for December/January in the United States. Crazy, 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 crazy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and click that follow button for more combat sports videos. Wow.
Boxing great Shane Mosley compared Crawford's approach to the blueprint often required to topple larger opponents. He argued that even if Errol Spence Jr. would make drastic improvements for a rematch, Crawford's adaptability and fight IQ would still give him the edge. Mosley highlighted Crawford's dominant victory over Spence as proof that size isn't enough to trouble him. In that performance, Crawford dictated the distance, landed with surgical accuracy, and dismantled one of the sport's elite champions. Mosley believes those same qualities will translate against Canelo, giving Crawford a real chance to defy expectations despite moving up in weight at the same time. Some observers have questioned whether Canelo still carries the same explosive burst that once defined his prime years, adding another layer of intrigue to the matchup.
Yeah, he's ready. Right when I seen that, I said Crawford wins. His movement, everything he wins. It doesn't matter if Spence was not strong or strong. He had more of the stuff to win that fight. And Crawford is a game player. He's gonna come. He come to win. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I still say Crawford anyway, but I feel bad that we didn't see the true Spence fight Crawford. If that makes any sense.
At 35, with years of grueling battle behind him, Canelo's pace has shown signs of slowing in recent outings. That potential dip in output could give Crawford the opportunity to control the tempo and impose his rhythm. Still, many caution that Canelo's natural size and physical strength remain serious obstacles. Even Crawford's biggest supporters admit that moving up in weight carries inherent risks. And against a puncher like Canelo, Even a brief defensive lapse could prove costly. This matchup ultimately stands as a high-stakes gamble, pitting pure skill and adaptability against size and raw power.
Well, you could argue Canelo got it tactically wrong tonight because I just don't understand why he didn't use his jab more. I understand that he was conserving energy, he was patient, he was taking it slow. He doesn't lead off with the jab much anymore, Canelo. But really, the jab helps you bring your feet closer and bring them into range. So I don't understand why he wasn't jabbing more. He can't use that much extra energy for him to not be able to use his lead hand just a bit more in that fight. So that was a bit concerning. And you could maybe argue that he knows Crawford's ringside. He knows the fight is done for September. He maybe doesn't want to show him too much, or he wants to give him maybe false confidence or false hope. I don't think that's the case. I think you get rid of Skull if you can. And I'm just not sure Canelo is able to do it anymore at that level. Definitely good enough to beat a guy like Skull. Skull was clearly terrified of the power, but, what does this mean for a fight like Crawford? Well, the first thing I noticed was, in the face-off, and I'm sure Crawford was wearing quite thick-soled trainers, as he quite often does, but the size difference didn't look that bad. It really didn't.
That wraps up today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more coverage, and we'll catch you in the next one.